Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? As you can see, I have a little bit of a different background behind me, and that is because I am in the process of moving, but we're not going to talk about that too much today. I just wanted to go ahead and try out Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadows for the first time. I got this palette a little while back, I think maybe in the Beautylish Lucky bag, and I was really excited to try Charlotte Tilbury's eyeshadows because I've never tried them before. I just don't know what to expect from the quality. I feel like I hear people say good things about them as far as like luxury eyeshadows go, but I just wanted to go ahead and try it out for myself. So the palette that I have is called the Instant Eye Palette Smoky Eyes Are Forever, and it's definitely more of a neutral color story, but I feel like overall it is a pretty cute palette. So there's what it looks like up close. I mean, the shimmers do look pretty sparkly. So we're just gonna go ahead, do some live swatches, do an eye look, and I'll let you guys know how I think about the palette at the end. Okay, so the first little section here we have is Love Eyes. So there's a really pale kind of beigey matte shade. We've got kind of like a rose gold shimmer, which does look pretty nice, super foiled. And then we've got more of a champagne sparkly shade. This one is a little bit flakier. I don't know if you can tell. Has like a little bit more sparkles to it. So there is Love Eyes. Next we have the Power Eyes, which I feel like is the section that's calling to me the most. We've got like a light kind of taupey matte shade, which does feel pretty smooth. We've got a green foiled shadow. Definitely one of the ones that caught my attention the most. I mean, it looks like it has a nice foil to it, but it doesn't quite stand up to like my Sydney Grace shadows or anything like that. And then the last shade we have here is a little bit more of like a murky kind of satiny olive. Super, super pretty. So there is Power Eyes. I mean, swatch is really nice. Okay, next we have Happy Eyes, which is the warmest little trio here. So the first shade is like a sparkly copper. The texture and everything looks pretty, but I definitely don't really gravitate towards those shades a lot. We've got a even more like red foiled copper shadow. And then lastly, we have a red toned matte brown. Okay. I mean, the mattes are all swatching super nice. The shimmers are swatching super nice. I feel like sometimes I see people like review luxury shadows and like it looks like nothing is coming up, and I'm just like, what are you even paying for? I know it's a look, it's an aesthetic. Some people like it, that's fine. But I feel like so far with this, I like that there's like actually good pigmentation, good textures. And then lastly, we have Confident Eyes, which starts off with a kind of like pinky, sparkly rose gold shade. We've got a deep matte brown, which is a little bit more cool toned, and then we've got a matte black. So the black, I don't know if you can tell, is definitely the least pigmented of what I've seen so far. Like I kind of dug my finger in there a little bit more. But I know some people really like more of a buildable black, so maybe that's what's happening here. Alright, so that is the entire palette swatched out. Definitely a more neutral, soft palette, but I think it's super pretty, and I feel like we could come up with a good eye look. Alright, y'all, I feel so close to the camera, more than normal, but you'll have to let me know if you like being a little bit closer up for the tutorial portion. So I think honestly I'm going to kind of do some neutral mattes and then play with the green shimmers because that's what's calling to me the most. So I'm going to start off with this taupey matte right here from Power Eyes. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and start that off through my crease as my transition shade. I mean, I feel like it has some decent pigmentation right away. I didn't go in with that much. I feel like so far I'm impressed, but also it's like I just wasn't sure what to expect. So I think the shadows do seem to be good quality, but also at the same time I'm not sure that that like equates to like being worth their price tag, because I think this palette is like $70 or something. something along those lines. And I feel like there's a lot of other shadow brands I would be more likely to want to splurge on first, especially as far as shimmers go. Like, mattes seem to be nice, but just off the top of my head, like, I feel like the Pat McGrath mattes are so nice, and some of those shimmers are just magical versus these shimmers which just look nice, which honestly I think it depends on the person, on who it would be good for, because, you know, I've definitely gotten some comments lately, especially when I was reviewing the Natasha Denona pastel palette, which wasn't even just that it was lackluster, it was just like low-key, like a lot of kind of not great shadows. But I had multiple comments that were like, well, this is what I like that softer look. So I get that. I could see why someone would be into Charlotte Tilbury's aesthetic. So I think with a small little pencil brush, I'm gonna go into this shade right here, that like really pretty satiny olive, and I'm just going to throw that along. Oh my goodness, do you guys see that? Look how pretty that is. Just throwing that along the outer half of my lower lash line. Okay, now I'm gonna go into this deep matte brown on a pretty small little blending brush, and I'm just gonna pop that into my outer V. And then just slightly start buffing that out just to add a little bit of depth. Okay, so that's blending okay. I feel like it looks good, but I kind of just want to do one layer of that and then go into the black as well, just to kind of test it out. I don't know why, I just always feel like my outer V's never look the same, but like I said, gonna take the matte black just a little tiny bit on that same brush just to see. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see it, but it is more of a buildable matte. It's not something where you get a ton of pigmentation right on impact. Slightly buffing that inwards. And then I'm just gonna go back into my first brush and blend over the edge right here. So before I go in with my lid, I think I'm gonna use this like sparkly shade right here for like my inner corner to my lower lash line kind of vibe. I'm just gonna use the same little liner brush that I keep wanting to call it a liner brush, the little pencil brush that I used before. Okay, low-key a mess. I like stuck my brush into it and like so much stuck to the shadow. I don't know if you can see that. That's even after tapping off my brush. So I definitely have to be careful with that one because it's a little bit of a softer shadow. But just gonna go ahead and throw some on the inner corner. I mean, it is super sparkly. And then I'm just gonna connect it to the lower lash line. And then kind of just tap it and buff it out a little bit. I mean, like I said, definitely, oops, a little bit messy, but it has a really pretty texture to it. So I think I'm just gonna go in with my finger now, and I'm gonna take the light green shade just because it's so pretty, and I'm gonna pop that all over my lid. Funny because this green stands out more, but I feel like I might actually like the olive green the most. Like, even just on the lower lash line, it has such a pretty shade to it. I feel like I need to do a smoky eye look with that one next. Okay, so once I've got that all on, I'm just gonna go in with my little blending brush and just go over that edge. For my waterline, I pulled out this NYX eyeliner in the shade Golden Olive just to kind of match the vibe. And then just throwing on the Melt Supernatural Mascara. Okay, so finishing off the face really quickly, I'm gonna go into the M Cosmetics Faded Clementine Blush just to add a little bit of warmth to the cheek. I feel like there's just something about a green eye and a really nice warm blush always gets me. So just gonna throw on a little bit of that. Then I'm also gonna go into the Alamar La Costa highlighter, just grabbing a little bit of that to throw on top. Kind of just right at the highest point of my cheekbones, my nose. Just realized I don't even know if I have any lip products around me. Okay, so I'm still figuring out my makeup situation right now. Currently, these are my two lip options. I could go with a clear gloss from Lethal, or I have a like slightly pigmented balm from Kaleidos. So I think I'm gonna go with the Kaleidos balm because it's actually super, super moisturizing. It smells so good. Alright y'all, so this is the finished look. I would say overall I do like how it turned out. I would say the name of the palette is pretty on par. It was an instant, pretty easy smoky eye. And honestly, like I said, I feel like the shadows are decent quality. The mattes blended well, the shimmers look pretty. I like that there's like an option to add a little bit of sparkle, but at the same time, I'm also like not overly impressed. I'm not dying to try more from Charlotte Tilbury. I mean, I guess if I saw an eyeshadow palette from her and it was like the most amazing color story, I wouldn't feel hesitant about the quality, but also there's other things. I think I definitely still prefer Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath by far. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!